Last year I took a trip with a friend to one country sliding into civil war and another that isn't allowed to exist. We crossed into Iraq from Turkey over the internationally recognised border, moving from the fringes of Europe to the Middle East. But southern Turkey is a Kurdish area, and so is northern Iraq. Ask any Kurd and they'll say you've been in the same country all along, Kurdistan. The Kurds have been at war for more than 100 years, either fighting amongst themselves or anyone standing in the way of their claim to be a distinct people deserving of independent statehood. The conflict has ebbed and flowed through bloody days of total war against the Ottoman Empire, guerrilla battles against the Turkish, the Syrians, and the slaughter of Saddam Hussein's Iraq. The Kurds have no friends according to their own proverbs, and they've had precious few. Promised a nation by the great powers at the end of World War I, they were betrayed and their lands divided between Turkey, Syria, Iraq and Iran. They have been largely ignored by the international community ever since, as they were murdered, locked up, had their language banned and culture denied. It was the Kurds who saw their city of Halabja destroyed by chemical weapons one bloody Friday in 1988 as the world also watched, doing nothing. They are also their own enemy, persistently fighting amongst themselves, a long-running civil battle between power-hungry tribal warlords willing Kurd to murder Kurd. Proud people, the Kurds have a reputation as being warriors. The most famous Muslim fighter of them all, Saladin, who defeated the Crusaders and won back Jerusalem, was a Kurd from the village of Tikrit. And their culture has endured, a bridge between East and West. The Kurds are now by majority tolerant, pragmatic Sunni Muslims, descended from an obscure sect, the Yazidis, devil worshippers, who remain in villages of northern Iraq. Finally too, there is a feeling the darkest days are past. A bright new dawn is breaking on Kurdish lands, spread as they are across Iraq, Syria, Turkey and Iran. The dawn began in 1991 when a US-led coalition declared a no-fly zone across northern Iraq, its Kurdish enclave. That act handed the Kurds a relative autonomy, the first real chance for them to run their own affairs, to be a self-governing people. The latest Iraq war, launched in March 2003 amid such controversy, was seen in many quarters as the next big step towards Kurdish freedom. There are billions of people across the globe opposed to the Iraq war, but some 30 million Kurds are resolute to this day that removing Saddam by force of arms was unquestionably right. And from being an oppressed people in Iraq, gassed, executed, arrested, ethnically cleansed, the Kurds last year saw themselves taking symbolic control of their country. Iraq is a lawless land, beyond any man's will to impose order, but its newest president, the man who replaced Saddam Hussein in that role, is a Kurd. Jalal Talabani, known to the Kurdish as Mam Jalal, Uncle. Once he led Kurd against Kurd, now he's restyled and repackaged. No longer the warlord who deals with the Kurds' enemies, but a unity leader. News of his appointment sparked a 3-day celebration across Iraqi Kurdistan, that internationally unrecognised state which still refuses to be denied. The Kurdish saw at last evidence their war was beginning to be won, and they responded by pushing ambitious territorial claims that sparked outrage in Iraq's Arab communities. The Kurdish insisting vast tracts of land as far south as Baghdad were their own. Officially, the Kurdish in Iraq wish to stay part of the nation. On the streets of northern Iraq, no one pretends that is the case. The aim is a Kurdish state, and political games must be played if it is to be achieved. This month, October 2006, in Baghdad's central parliament, a controversial vote, narrowly forced through by the ruling Shiite Kurdish bloc, paved the way for a truly federal Iraq. A nation split into a Shiite Arab south, a Sunni Arab-dominated central region, and a Kurdish north. The Kurdish dream is edging, it seems, ever closer. And so are deeper levels of bloodshed. In response to that federal vote, a council of Sunni Mujahideen, religious fighters opposed to the US occupation and Shiite-led government, declared an Islamic state in central Iraq, including Kirkuk. The Kurds insist Kirkuk, one of the richest oil cities on the planet, is theirs, putting Sunni Arab fighters on collision course with the Kurdish Peshmerga. Violence has been rising in the city for the past year. With each passing month, it gets worse and worse. Car bombings, suicide attacks, shootings. The long-predicted war of Kirkuk is well and truly raging. So in the mountains of Iraqi Kurdistan, now a safe haven and the basis, they hope, of a true independent state, guerrillas ready themselves for the next battles, against Turkey, against Syria, Iran and Iraq. The Kurdish expect more dying is to be done, and they are prepared to make that bargain. Kurdish fighters are called Peshmerga, those who face death. As they have in the past, so they will in the future.